Never try to conquer the Terrans. Never. Winning seems simple at first glance. Their technology lags behind most advanced civilizations, and their fleets aren't vast. But trust me, victory doesn't last. It all began when the Zareks attacked. A warmongering species, constantly expanding their territory, thus they naturally set their sights on Terran space. During their first engagement, they tried to capture a few ships to uncover weak spots and learn more about their enemy. Something easier said than done. First attempt. The Zareks ambushed an unsuspecting Terran light cruiser on a scouting mission. They disabled the thrusters to immobilize it and docked in the ship's bay. But when they breached the doors, instead of encountering resistance, they were greeted by a bomb. The blast destroyed the Zarek ship entirely, though the Terran vessel sustained damage. The trap was set to perfection. Second attempt. In a massive battle over a Terran colony, the Zareks launched boarding torpedoes at the Terran main cruiser. At first, they succeeded. Zarek elite warriors tore through the Terran defenders. But just as they were about to breach the command bridge, the Terran ship redirected all energy to its thrusters and shields, ramming itself into the Zarek dreadnought. The result? Both ships and any unfortunate vessels nearby were obliterated. The same tactics repeated. When Zareks used sent boarding parties, Terran ships would either self-destruct or sacrifice themselves in a collision if a Zarek whip was nearby. The Zarek generals were intrigued. What secret did these ships hold that made the Terrans so desperate to avoid capture? They decided to do whatever they could to capture one, and thus they poured many resources into that endeavor. Hack the ship and lock the crew inside? The Terrans would activate the self-destruct manually. Bribe a captain into treason? The crew would mutiny and detonate the ship. Every vessel was rigged to blow if certain conditions were met, like too many Zareks on the command bridge, which they learned the hard way. Eventually, the Zareks gave up trying to capture Terran ships. They moved on to targeting planets. Their first campaign against the Terrans world, Phoenix B, took weeks, but finally, the first Terran world was conquered. The Zareks celebrated as the last of the Terran inhabitants fled the world, and the Zarek colonization fleet set off to land on the planet and load off resources, settlers, and machines to build a new Zarek outpost. Then Phoenix B exploded. No one knows how the Terrans did it, but the detonation was so massive it destroyed the surrounding warships meant to guard against a Terran counterattack. The Zareks were fed up. Their patience wore thin. No longer was this war about conquest, honor, or resources. It became personal. Orders were given, rewards promised, and more attempts to capture Terran ships were carried out. None succeeded, of course. The Terrans were bombs. Their ships were bombs. Even their belongings were bombs. Poor Kolak, just 2 weeks from retirement, he planned to spend his remaining days with his grandkids. His last words? "Do these glasses look good on me?" Just before the sunglasses exploded. "I'm sick of everything blowing up," cursed the third Zarek admiral upon learning that a second Terran world had detonated moments before he kicked a rock, which was also a bomb. Living in a universe where everything around you is rigged to explode does things to you. I even lost a hand trying to pet a dog. The dog wasn't a bomb, it just bit me, and the infection got really bad. But still, pushed to their breaking point, the Zareks launched one final desperate strike. They sent their entire armada straight to the Terran homeworld in the Sol system, thinking surely the Terrans wouldn't destroy their own planet. When the Zarek fleet arrived, they encountered surprisingly weak resistance, just a few dreadnoughts and carriers guarding Earth's moons. "My general, we have an incoming transmission from the Terran admiral," said one of the communication officers. "Patch it through. Maybe they've finally come to their senses," the Zarek general replied. "Surrender or be eradicated," the Terran admiral demanded. "Eradicated? With what exactly?" The Zarek general scoffed. He'd soon regret that. "I'm glad you asked," the Terran admiral said, grinning. He pressed a button. At first, nothing happened. Then one of the moons started to move toward the Zarek fleet. The general gulped. "Impressive battle station, but sheer numbers will overwhelm it. No way it can survive the firepower of our fleet." "You're right," the Terran admiral responded. "It can't withstand that kind of assault, but that's no battle station." "What do you mean?" The general paused his speech, then it dawned on him. "No? No." "Yes," the Terran admiral confirmed. "No, no, no. Yes, yes, yes! You son of a bomb! It's a giant moon-sized bomb. The Zarek fleet plunged into chaos. "You're going to destroy the entire system." "Yes," said the admiral, "and 99% of your fleet from our calculations. You know what happens next, don't you?" Panic gripped the Zarek general. Without their fleet, they were doomed. "This is a trick," the general cried. "A bluff." "Check for yourself," the admiral offered, shifting the camera to show the massive reactor inside the moon. The general cursed. "You wouldn't dare." The admiral's face went stone cold. "You're right. This was supposed to be a bluff, but no one questions my courage and gets away with it. Enjoy the fireworks." The screen went dark. "General, the bomb is charging," one of the officers yelled. "Retreat, now!" The fleet scattered, but it was too late. Most of the Zarek armada was destroyed, and the few who escaped were either captured or lost in space. The war ended with a peace treaty, but the Zarek diplomats had one burning question. Why is everything a bomb? The Terran response was simple: to send a message. If we can't have our stuff, then you certainly can't have our stuff. And that's why no one messes with the Terrans, whether it's slavers, pirates, or empires. Because what's the point of taking something just to see it blow up in your face? This is the end of the story. Thank you for watching and making it through its entirety. If you enjoyed this story, please consider liking and subscribing.